Hi, this is the elementary Sunday school lesson for this coming Sunday, November 24th at 10 o'clock in the purple classroom. So the elementary class is going to be using the illustrated Joyful Path curriculum. So those look like this. And it's called, I Know That the Spirit of the Universe Can Do Great and Small Things Through Me. The overarching theme is called practicing humility. Okay, so that's really what it's about. So on the first page, that's all about kind of instructions for the teachers. It says humility means recognizing an infinite power greater than ourselves. Basically, it's not self-abasement. It's just recognizing that there is something bigger and better than us. And another thing it says is recognizing that there is something deeper and authentic flowing through our success does not diminish our accomplishments. It empowers it or expands it. So these are ideas that they're talking about, which you're welcome to share with the kids. There are two Bible verses I particularly like that they've listed here that I think there are the regular Bibles, not the Shine Bible, but the regular Bibles in there. You might have the kids look up Philippians chapter 2, verses 3 and 4 that says, "Do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility regard others better than yourselves, and let each of you look not to your own interest, but to the interest of others." And they also do Proverbs and John. So you can have them look up one of those or all of those. You can, as you read through the lesson, decide which one you think is you want to go through. I like that one per se. So the first activity of the lesson is going to be reading the story. The story is, of course, attached in here. It's on the last couple of pages. It's called The King Who Wanted to Touch the Moon. So it's this length plus like one column over here. Not too long. And so this story is about a king who's basically doesn't have humility. He starts out having it and then he kind of loses it and makes unreasonable requests of touching the moon and then discovers, painfully that he needs humility. And then there are about 3 questions afterwards. Why do you think the king wanted to touch the moon? What would you have done if you were the royal carpenter who was being commissioned to build him a tower to the moon? And how do you think the king was different after his last experience? So it's a simple story, but it's one that I think kids this age will have no problem kind of relating to and thinking about, and are themselves struggling with when they feel really good about something versus, how to maintain a sense of humility when you're feeling really great. And there's nothing wrong with those two things, right? So the story is the first part of the lesson, and then the next thing they'll do, and the next 2 things you don't have to do in this order, but the blue ribbon craft follows the story. So they're basically creating a blue ribbon. So I have blue construction paper in there that they can cut a circle out of, trace it and cut it. I have blue ribbon, so they can cut 2 little pieces of ribbon. It's kind of wide ribbon. You could even cut it lengthwise in half if it's too wide for the circle they cut. As well as glue is in there so they can attach all these things together. And then there's an affirmation to go in the middle. Now they can either write their own. I have printed out a sheet with 2 different affirmations on it that you can that they can cut out and glue on, and I'll read them to you. It says, "I will act in humility and look to the interests of others," obviously based on the Philippians thing I just read, "and I will see beyond myself to the spirit in all," which is one of their examples, sort of an example they have. And I like that phrase, seeing beyond myself to the spirit in all. And that's like recognizing in everyone, friends, enemies, frenemies, right? That there's a spirit, that someone is loved by God like you are. And that is part of humility, is realizing that and remembering that, even when it's a hard thing to do. So they can choose one of those 2 affirmations to cut out and put on their blue ribbon, or they can write their own. Either one is fine. The last thing I have is this sharing success right here. So the idea here is that, and depending on how many kids you have, you can maybe do it as a group. They suggest in pairs. And so the kids would get together and share with their partner something they're proud of, right? Something they've had success at. Maybe it's a test they did great on. Maybe it's that they helped out someone in their neighborhood or their family, or did all their chores. These are, my examples and some of the ones they list in here. And then each child gets up once that collaboration and discussion has happened. Each child gets up and tells the group about their partner's success. So they don't talk about their own, they talk about their partner's success, and they get the idea and the sense of sharing others' success with people, and how powerful that can be when you're bragging on someone else, for example. And if you want to do that first before the craft, that's fine too. And if there's something else in here you want to do, there's a foot washing activity that I think might get a little messy and crazy, so I thought best to avoid that. But I'll send you this, and all the materials for the ribbon creation will be in the classroom. So let me know if you have any questions. Thank you so much.